Hey everyone, it's Lisa. I'm here broadcasting from the Paris Bourbon County Library. We hope you're doing okay, enjoying this beautiful summer day. Today we're going to be making a patriotic framed flag, and I'm going to give a list of the materials. There is a kit available for this, so feel free to pick up one. It's first come, first serve. And this is on an 8x10. It's probably a little difficult to see that it stands up, but you do get the frame as well. Okay, so look at the materials that you're going to need. You're going to need a frame, and these are very inexpensive plastic frames, although you can, if you wanted to, add a few highlights to this to make it a little bit more rustic, whatever you choose to do. We'll talk about that in a little bit, but you are going to need a frame. Now, I looked at the 5x7, and I think you can use it, but obviously you're not going to get all of the written background, which I'm not sure is a problem. So if you choose to do one at home and you want to do a 5x7, then pull out your old 5x7 frames, and there you go. You will also need a copy of the Declaration, which is in your kit, although you could put anything that you wanted as your background. You could use burlap. Mine's a little rustic. You could use burlap. You could use really whatever you wanted to. Another piece of paper, a piece of scrapbooking paper, and so forth. So you do need a background. You're going to need a flag, and I have ordered these and carefully disassembled them. I will use these for something else, so save your sticks, but you will get a flag. You need scissors. You'll need something to trace with. You'll need Mod Podge and a brush, and I think that is it. So let me go ahead and tell you how I prepared this. Obviously, the first thing that I did was find a copy of the Declaration of Independence that was very rustic. You can print these just straight black and white, and they're equally as pretty. So I did prepare that. I did remove my flag from its pole, its flag pole. It just had two staples in there, and so that was really easy to get out. I preferred a antiqued flag, and you can see the difference there. Antique on top, and just the one that came like this, just straight. There's no tea staining to it. And I also preferred a frayed flag. If you look closely on this one, I'll hold that still, you can see that frayed across the top and all around the sides. And so I've actually started that process on this one. And all I simply did was start finding, because this is just a woven, but just finding that one thread and pulling. And finding your thread and pulling. Now, if you're having a hard time, I had this little gadget from another craft that I was using, but that helped me pull and get them started. You could use tweezers in the same effect. I'm just trying to get all sides equal. It looks like I need to get one or two off of the top of the flag. You do not need a tool at all. You can actually just do this. I just found it to be a little easier. Okay, so I think we're equal here. Now, to tea stain this, I just simply boiled a tea bag and poured the contents into a Pyrex baking dish and submerged this for a minute, 2 minutes, depending on how dark you want your antique to look. And then I just let it air dry, and it air dried nice and flat. Okay, so the next thing that we're going to do, now that we've got our flag prepared, is we're going to take our frame and prepare it. We've got to get our background in there. Now, as I said, you can use anything. There's some beautiful pieces of scrap book paper that would be perfect for this. I do want to show you on this one what I would do differently and intend to do differently is I'm going to pull this down a little bit. Now that means I'm going to lose a few of my signatures, but I will get the full text at the top, and I think that's more important. I'm choosing my battles. I'm not sure which one's least important by any means, but I do need to really center that just a little bit better. So we'll try to do that a little bit better on this next one we're making. As I said, you'll get you'll get a frame. The glass. I chose not to put a glass in the front of this, although the glass is behind here. I just used it as a hard surface with which, to keep this nice and flat. So you can put glass on top of it or underneath of it. I kind of like the rustic look of no glare on this frame. So I'm going to take my glass out. And I'm going to take one of my documents. And I was using my paper as a guide as to where to cut. But I think because I can see through this would be a much better guide. So I'm going to move that up so I am getting more of the top of it. And I just want to make sure my sides are, excuse me, you're probably seeing my head in this right now. Sometimes you have to stand to make sure something looks right. I think that is good. So I'm going to take my pen and trace it. And we're going to take our scissors and cut that out. There are so many seasonal crafts, but if you look online, there are loads of them for the 4th of July. I know some of you decorate your homes in a patriotic theme throughout most of the summer. I love that. I still have my flags out. Now, if you do not have a colored printer, you could easily print this document in black and white and tea stain it. Put it in a Pyrex dish, leave it in there as long as you wanted to, and you will get that effect there. Okay, next step, I'm going to leave mine rustic. So I'm going to put my glass behind it. Now, I'm not going to glue to the glass, although I could easily put Mod Podge on there and stick this on there. But this one's holding its place very well, and I did not adhere this to the glass. So there we go, and then we're going to use our flag. And I'm, for the most part, used the lines on the paper as my guide. So really about there is where I want that. So I'm going to take my Mod Podge And I'm going to dip right down in there because I don't need a lot. And I'm just going to pull this back. And a light coat on my paper. And I'm going to fold this. Let me just turn that around. I'm right-handed. Make it a little bit easier on myself. And I'm going to pull this back. And a light coat. I'm going to get a little bit more around the edges here. Now, Mod Podge dries clear, so if you should see it on the front of your flag, do not stress. It will dry clear. And then while that is drying, we can easily put this together. So we're going to take our frame and next we're going to put our flag. And next we're going to put our glass. And that just allows me to reuse this frame. And make sure it's in there correctly. And there we go. And I like this one much better because just the placement of the title, if you can see that, the placement of the title, I like that. It looks much better. Okay, and that is our framed patriotic flag. Easy to do. There is a kit available for it. It kind of gets you in the mood and gets you ready for the 4th of July. I hope you've enjoyed this. I do want to make one other point. This frame is just a plastic, inexpensive frame. But if you will take gold paint on your finger, maybe even the color of this gold, and just lightly over the rib of this frame, that will add a very attractive detail. So if you wanted to zhuzh it up, as they say, then again, just a gold on the tip of your finger, just very lightly brushing that ridge or groove there. So just an extra tip for you. I hope you've enjoyed this. Please feel free to pick up a kit. They are first come, first serve, and keep crafting.